Hey guys, I'm Marcus Taylor from SEO Optimize. I head up some of the social media stuff here, and this is my good friend Dan Bianchini, who's one of our SEO geniuses.
Hi there.
And we thought today we'd kind of do a bit of a kind of video discussion, video blog on the concept of ROI in social media versus SEO. It's kind of comparing the two and working out, how you can track them and how, you can best use that for both SEO and social media. So should we kick off with a few examples?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Cool. So let's start off with SEO. I'm going to pick on you first.
Cheers then, thanks.
So if we take, let's say, an e-commerce site, just want to get their sales up, improve their ROI. How can you ensure or, make sure that if I spend £10,000 on SEO review, how am I going to make more? Like, how do you track ROI on SEO?
Okay, so SEO can be tracked in multiple ways. One way we can look at is keywords and generic key phrases, not brand related, because brand related can be attributed to offline marketing or other types of marketing.
Yeah.
So we look at the non-branded key phrases. So in my example would be waterproof jackets. I know it's sunny outside, but it's just on the top of my head.
Pessimistic.
Yeah. So for example, waterproof jackets, you want to target the long tail key phrases and look at where you can go from a low ranking to improve them and get a high ranking, which is then going to improve conversion. So for example, we use spreadsheets here to determine if you're in position 10 and you're only getting in a certain amount of traffic and what conversion rate that is and the amount of revenue in. It is use tools to try and work out, well, what happens if you get to number 3? Using the same conversion rate, how much is that going to actually make you? So then you just see the increase in revenue from position 10 to position 3 to position 2, and then we do that on a vast variety of key phrases and then determine which ones are the most profitable. Yeah, to see which are the most profitable to go for.
So that's really key, isn't it? Because I was going to ask you actually, how do you know which keywords are the most profitable? And I guess it's, so you've got this thing, you've got, I suppose, a list of keyword 1, keyword 2, keyword 3, keyword 4, keyword 5. Where are we ranking at the moment? How valuable is that to us at the moment? How much would it cost, roughly, for us to improve the ranking? And so what's the potential increased value of improving the ranking for that keyword?
Yeah, so for example, if we had a key phrase, say keyword 5, and it was in position 10, it was bringing in 1,000 hits a month, but it was converting at, 3% and bringing in £3,000, something along those lines. Then we can look at, okay, what happens if we pushed it up to position 5? Look at keyword tools to see the sort of amount of traffic that we would get in for position 5 using like estimated amounts, and then use the same conversion rate to see how much money that would bring in. So if it brought 5,000 visits in, conversion rate of 3%, technically it's going to bring £15,000, which is £10,000 more. And then if we attribute it to how much time that we have to spend on getting that key phrase there, we can show the ROI to the client.
So basically you're kind of, this keyword is bringing in £5,000, it's going to cost us £4,000 to get up to number 1, which at that point it's going to bring in £20,000.
Exactly.
So it's very formulaic. You can kind of we know it's going to take this long, roughly, and this is the amount that you're going to get.
Yeah, obviously it's all estimated, so we can't guarantee that it's going to be in the set zone, but with techniques and things that we can look at.
You get a rough idea.
Yeah, we have a rough estimate of how long it's going to take, sort of things that we need to go for.
Sounds very nice compared to social media, which is like
yes,
much more difficult.
So I think it's about time that it switches. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Okey-dokey.
So okay, you've said this question to me. If I give you £1,000, how are you going to show me my return on investment from social media?
Okay, so with social media, I think the challenge is that the ultimate goals tend to be qualitative. So, whereas your goal is kind of, I want to increase sales directly. With social media, it's, I want to increase sales indirectly. So you're kind of looking at, these qualitative metrics, whether they're, I want to become the most authoritative person in my niche, or I want to, get more opportunities, I want to be speaking at more events, I want to use social media to do that. There are quantitative metrics like, guys like Dell who have used social media to decrease their customer service costs, or if you want to improve your customer services, using Twitter or a call center, which is kind of a branch of building loyalty. So that's the issue. You're working as qualitative metrics rather than numbers. So I think the first when I kind of go into a social media campaign, the first thing I do is work out what a qualitative metric is. What are we doing this for? Are we, do we want to become the most authoritative in our niche, or do we want to become, make all of our existing customers really more loyal to us and build more advocates? And when you know that, when you've got your qualitative metric in place, you can then assign quantitative metrics to it. So you can say, if I want to become the most influential, authoritative person in my niche, what is the quantitative metrics that cause that? Well, they're going to be things like being retweeted by people who are authoritative, existing authoritative people in your niche, or having them comment on your blog, or interactions with people who are already influential, or mass amounts of people who are going to kind of cause you to become influential. So you could set down a KPI like say we want to increase. Well, if you apply values, so you say having a influential person in my niche, retweet me is worth £10, and then as soon as you've got that value applied, you can then say, I want to increase this from £100 value to £200 by next month.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of show, this is what it's worth to me, this is where we want to be, and then you can say, okay, so it's going to take me, I think if I'm doing some campaigns, it might take me 3 months, working to get us to being the most influential. So, and in that, I'm going to get enough retweets, enough interactions that I've applied values to, estimated values that are going to ultimately provide more value than the initial cost of doing it. But
okay.
It's a very difficult thing, because obviously with social media you're kind of going in people's brains. You're branding. You're kind of when you're interacting with people and building yourself as an authority, it's not the kind of thing like they buy and then they have no interaction with you ever again. It's searing stuff into people's heads that you're a nice person, you're a really genuinely decent company, and that is so difficult to apply value to.
So really what we're saying here is SEO is really simple compared to social media. Is that what we're trying to say here? So
I'm glad you say that. Yeah. If SEO is simple, then.
Okay, so I recently saw a comment by Gary Vaynerchuk. Apologies about the name. So, ROI of social to business in 2013.
Right.
Thanks. Sorry again, but let's see. So what is the ROI of social if he says businesses will exist in 3 years?
Yeah. So it was, what's he said? He said. He said that he didn't really care about ROI of social, and that he doesn't really worry about it, and that his opinion is that the ROI of social media is that businesses will still exist in 2015 if you're doing it, which is probably a little bit extreme, but I can see his point, because at the end of the day, this Google are kind of introducing more and more social things day by day. We've had shared by snippets, we've had Google +1, you've had real-time Twitter data, personalized search, all these kind of things which show that Google really want to become more social, and they're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if social signals are becoming more and more of a ranking factor, then let's say we a few years down the line, 2015, what if Google's algorithm is based largely on my social graph? If I'm looking for a hotel in London, and the result that comes up number 1 is no longer the hotel that's paid the best SEO company or for the most decent links, but is actually the result that has been recommended the most by my friends on people in my social circle on Twitter and Facebook.
So it's like what they're sort of doing at the moment, where you've got you link through and you've got your Twitter friends at the bottom where it says 5 of your friends have already shared this link, and
Yeah.
is that how you're saying? But that currently works only
It's
when it's
kind of
signed
minor
in.
at the moment, but if that becomes more and more, like if in 3, 4, 5 years time, that is what Google is, largely based upon, then it means the companies who are investing in their social media and who are doing really cool and fun things and being, a really human company, they're the ones who are going to be at the top, because they're making people want to sort of share their stuff.
So from your social point of view, do you think that Google will roll this out in a few years' time, where social is going to become more and more of a factor, and SEO
Yeah.
maybe comes a bit lower down the pecking order?
I tell you what, I don't think SEO will become less important, but I think social will become more a part. I think they'll kind of, at the moment you've kind of got social media, SEO. I think they will become more and more. You'll be doing good social media will be good SEO basically. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, so it looks like we've gone on a bit of a Jason here. So,
My bad.
maybe we should just wrap this up and come up with a few of
sure.
the points that we've gone through. So from my point of view, SEO is, I think, is a bit easier to measure. We've noticed from Marcus going on there for a few minutes, and it's all about prioritising your key phrases to make sure that you're targeting the ones that are going to convert the best, and in total just get you the more revenue.
Yeah, I think in terms of social, the key element is just decide on your qualitative metric. What are you going to do? Do you want to become more build more loyalty, or do you want to get more customers, or what do you want to do? And then assign quantitative metrics to those qualitative metrics, and then apply values. And once you've applied values, you can then work out how long it takes you, how much it's going to cost you to attain a positive ROI from those kind of metrics.
Cool.
Cool.
Well, that's it from us today. Thanks very much for watching. See you next week.
Cheers, guys.